Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Etims podcast. My name is Desmond, and I am very glad to say we have a full house tonight. I have been joined by the man across the water, Monty C. Burns. Monty, I'm thinking, what could the CBC stand for tonight? Charcoal, due to that massive tan you have. It's via Portugal and Ireland, I believe.
I think content, Desi, content probably would be.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that's a good. That's strange. I'll come to that in a second because I was thinking of a one-word question, but we'll leave that tonight. And I'm also glad to say, folks, we have been joined by Ralph Malf. Good evening, Ralph.
Evening. How you doing?
I'm fine, but you look as though you're doing even better because all I can see is that a sunny Stoke sky behind you, Ralph?
That's a painting behind me.
That's a
no,
what?
sunshine. We've got tropical weather.
Well, it's looking lovely. I know people are listening, they can't see it, but Ralph is blue skies are behind him.
And then Stoke, just a big dark cloud over it all the time.
That's this droopy cloud that this sits there and follows him wherever he goes. Yeah, and then last but not least, our resident tactician, the man in the suburbs. Good evening, Hector Bandido. Good evening, Hector.
Monocells.
Yes, so obviously, folks, welcome one and all. As always, thank you for listening. Thanks for all your support, all your comments, all the subscriptions. Please, as normal, subscribe and like where possible. Comment where you can. It's always nice to read the comments. And thanks again. We are here since the last time. I think the last time was I've never even checked, to be honest. But I've just got a few items. We've got the main priority item is last night's kick-off game in the Champions League new format. But just before we go there, Ralph, I'll come to you first. Usually I start with Hector, but I want to go to Hector for the game first of all. So I'm going to come to you, Ralph, first of all. Just for the SPL, so far so good or so far so great. 5 wins, 5 clean sheets.
You always get the feeling that something's going to go wrong, but it's like they're like a well-oiled machine. Everybody knows what they're doing. There's somebody to take place. Anybody that gets injured or out of form. Whatever he was working on last year, we're beginning to see the fruits of it now, I think. Domestically and as we'll come to in Europe.
Yeah, that's interesting because that ties in. I'm sure you guys and a lot of people listening would have seen the Joe Hart comments after the Champions League. So that ties in perfectly. And Joe Hart was talking about how Brendan Rodgers came in, and Hector touched on this before. When will we see the real Brendan Rodgers? Quite a lot of time. Joe Hart says he took his time. People had been bedded into Postecoglou's system, so he didn't tweak it too much too soon. He just gradually changed it a little bit, and then he said in the last 3 or 4 months he really ramped it up and went and classic Hector pattern, full Brendan. He went full Brendan, and you can see the fruits of that labour now. But as you say, so I'm just thinking of the headlines. If anyone in the Scottish media are listening to you there, Ralph, Celtic fan bored with Brendan Rodgers' consistency. Is that what we're saying at this point?
I'll be fed up with Christmas and hoping for a car crash.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And hopefully the league's finished by Christmas. So, yeah, a perfect start in the SPL. Poor Casper Schmeichel was lucky to stay awake, but team's doing great. We've had quite a few signings coming in. So then I'm going to come to the next topic before we get to Champions League. Monty, the accounts were published. You are our resident financial / business guru. So I've just wrote here, accounts, Celtic, fortune in the bank, blah, blah, blah. Right, so did anything jump out for you from the accounts at all, Monty, that you'd like to highlight quickly?
There's a couple of things if we look at the breakout of where the revenue came from. And it's interesting, effectively 50 million is our football and stadium operations was just shy of 50 million. And that's our peak. If you look at 2023 was 51.5, 2024 is 49,971. So when we are all the bases loaded, Champions League, we bring in 50 million into the stadium. That's into the 60,000 seater stadium as it's constituted. Merchandising was 30 million, Desi, but it's kind of flat as well. It's up, well, it's not flat, it's up a million on 2023-24. And multimedia and other commercial activities, which is obviously the TV pot, rose from 39 million to up 5 million, effectively to 44.5. You can expect that this season's numbers are going to be bigger on two of those three. We will have higher income on football and stadium operations, and we will have higher revenues from the Champions League TV pool, etc. So I think merchandising, we're probably stretching it now. There's about fucking 300 Adidas strips and sort of categories and all that out. But overall, Desi, and I know we've said it and we're hard on them when they deserve it and we're praising them when they are, it's run exceptionally well as a business, Celtic PLC. The one thing I will say is, though, within the notes, the answer to all these numbers can be spun whatever you want them, but the real what's going on is inside the notes. And the chairman's statement, he mentioned one thing specifically, and it was like a note out of tune. He was re-emphasising that we're going to stick to our business model. And I could almost hear him tapping that furiously on his keyboard, spitting out feathers and taking blood pressure tablets just after we had signed Engels and fucking Ida. But yeah, Desi, they're great numbers. The club's in an extremely healthy place financially, and it's going to grow again this year. It's a phenomenally well-run business.
Hector?
Can I ask you a question, Monty, just for that? So one thing that stood out as well as the profits and everything else, right, was the operational costs.
Yes.
£100 million. Now,
105.4 million.
Now, my wee brain, you know, now, we all know accounts are dark arts, right? And it can be spun, you know, that you've explained it really well, it can be spun many ways. See, within that, just over £100 million, does that include the money put towards the Barrafield redevelopment of circa £20 million?
No.
So
within that 100 million, right. Now I'm looking here at the numbers just to give you a 100% accurate, but on my first pass of it, the answer was no. That's typically a capital investment that will have been took from reserves. So our operating costs now of 124.5 million of revenue, our operating costs are about 105 million. So now you've all sorts of charges and impairments. For example, there's a hit there in terms of our costs, small hit, 66 grand for settlement agreements and unforeseen contract terminations. You know, and these are exceptional operating credits, sorry, of 0.2 when you roll them all up for us getting compensation when players are injured. So there's loads of hookery in here, Hector. But if I look at this, we're running an operation on 100 million of cost for 125 million of revenue. If we miss the Champions League, we're running effectively at a break even. And that's what that 70 odd million in the bank is about. Pre-player trading, by the way, because we won't be buying Ida and Engels every year. So it's an organisation that is set very much on a path of safety because of the cash reserves that are there, but it hasn't been shy, to be fair to it, in increasing its base costs because it has to, Hector. It's no choice. Football wages at the top end are now different.
But it's interesting. So thanks again. It's interesting because this is at year end, which is end of June, right? So we know since then quite a lot's happened. Buying and selling players. The notable sale obviously was Matt O'Reilly for circa 30 million. Then with the last week of incoming purchases, which if that hadn't happened that last week, we'd have a very different conversation. Yep. You're right. But the fact it did happen, so credit to the board. Oh God, it's killing me. Credit to the board for doing that. But the one thing here, and it's moving away from the monetary aspect, which your board, it seems to be their king. And I get it in many ways, running the business in many ways, right? But we're also a football team first and foremost for the vast majority of us. Where I'm coming to with this, it looked like Rodgers that last week had won his internal battle to get money spent. And just because we say money spent, money that came from profit of player sales, so in effect, we still made a profit on player trading this summer, right? So with Engels, we'll come to him in a wee minute and we talk about the football. Already he's only in 2 and a bit games. I think already, and we're going to get into this bit of detail, we can see what we can see, right? If he's spending £10 million a guy like him, he made a comment just prior to the window closing that rather than spend, was it 6 players at 3 million each. He'd rather get like, maybe 2 or 3 in for 18 million pound in total. If Engels proved to be the big success that early doors, we get that, and in 2 years' time he goes for say 35 to 40 million. That puts him in one hell of a strong position, doesn't it? To say, look, demonstrate, look, I've showed you real profit here. This is the strategy that will take us further in Europe, make us competitive, win the league, and get a big profit in players.
Yeah. And there's just one clarification point, if I can, Hector, just to round that out. There is a charge within the set of published financials for purchase of property, plant and equipment of 7.17 million. I think that might be the Barfield money in there. So to clarify the point, it is included in the operating cost of the business, 7 million.
Right. Quick question right before to hopefully one last listener still awake. How come these figures, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going to what I heard there, these figures include the expenditure for Engels and Ida, but they don't include the revenue for Matt O'Reilly? Why do we exclude one and include the other? Or does it include the goings both? Because I'm sure Matt O'Reilly money's not in this.
It's a timings thing, Desi, and it'll come down to the date of the registration, which is the date of the transaction. So you could well see a scenario here. If I look here, proceeds from sale of intangible assets, 26.8 million. Now, we reportedly got 30 million for Matt O'Reilly. We also sold O and a few others within that. So there's a timing element to it, Desi.
Yeah.
Equally, we're seeing here purchase of intangible assets at 31.5 million. So it's really just it's an in and an out, because what we do know is if we take at face value all of the sales values that we purportedly brought in and our purchases on intangible assets, i.e. players, we're actually still quids in the bank. Mm-hmm. We didn't spend the sum total of O and Lowell and anybody else who left plus O'Reilly. We didn't spend all of that amount. We were effectively in net positive position based on what was reported. So inside this, like the net cash used in investing activities was 12 million, Desi. Mm-hmm. That's 11.8 million. That's how much cash we took out of the pot, which if we hadn't have traded it off, would still be in the pot. So you've got a scenario where we're not spending what we don't have. We're saving the surplus. We're saving less this year than we did the previous year, obviously. Yeah. But you're still running at a healthy profit, investing now in assets that will be turned over for much higher value than the previous, the 2 million, 3 million. If you get 1 out of 10, let's put the caveat.
Let's put the caveat potentially being sold for, because again, there's always that potential for disaster. Let's be honest. Because again, I probably this was meant to be a 2-minute discussion.
Sorry,
but again, I think it is fascinating, because even I'm just looking at the figures I copied down from the website, like profit before taxation, because a lot of questions used to be, why are we just paying tax and all this big profit? So last year we made 40 million profit and paid, and then this year it's 17.8, but not by then. But then the money in the bank still went up 5 million, so we're up to 70 million in the bank. I mean, So I think
it's a dark art, as Hector said. It's a dark art, Desi. You could interpret these in
every area. I mean, if you drilled into every area of this, it would be fascinating. But let's just go with the board's jiggery pokery is okay with us for now, at least.
They've hoodwinked us brilliantly thus far. We're sold.
But as Hector said, we've all come to the actual players and what's round the corner later. And I have written the words. Let me see if I can find it. 1 second. Two big signings, both scoring in their Champions League debut. Not bad. ? Sold for January worries. I mean, knowing the board, the chance. Right, let's turn them in quick. So thanks very much, Monty. So that's the board. The accounts were released. Quick one to you, Ralph, just to stay on the financial subject. Dave King sticking his oar in the old Rangers. Are you glad to see your old friend back in the headlines?
Only if he brings Gerrard with him. It's always good to laugh at something when things aren't going. Mind you, things are going well for us. Yeah. So doesn't matter what they're
But
doing.
if you get the chance, I don't know if any of you guys saw it. Some Rangers fan, and sorry Hector, but you and I, who run the Etims Net Twitter account, we have now been blocked because I sent a joke reply to that guy, whoever it was. Some Rangers fan was getting big thank yous from other Rangers fans for posting the talk radio interview with Jim White and Dave King phoned in from Johannesburg. So if anyone's listening and you've not heard it, go and listen to it, because it's fascinating to watch Jim White try and set up Dave King as the new Messiah again. But then Simon Jordan, who I've not got any time for, and I don't think many people have, he rips into him. He actually, he just basically asks some basic CEO questions. Monty, you would love it. You know what I mean? He basically just asks some business sense questions, and Dave King's getting nothing. You know what I mean? I'd have to see when I get there. Or no, I'm not promising any money. No, that sort of way, it just totally exposes. Total sham. So that's a wee bit of comedy. If anyone's looking for it, go and look at Jim White Talk Sport with Dave King. It's up there with his Charles Green bedside interview, remember? A long time ago. Right, so we're coming to last night. Hector Bandido. It's the new Champions League format. Let's start with the old Champions League tune. Playing at Parker's. I love putting up a match report with the word Parker's just to have people going crazy today. So please know I was only having a joke. Right. So Hector, how did you feel in the stadium last night when the noise went up? Because it's allegedly the second loudest Parkhead's ever been after the Who concert, the famous Who concert.
It was interesting in regards that it was unusual that we were going to a Champions League match being the favourites to win.
Yeah.
That's probably not happened for somebody will no doubt correct me and say that'll happen last year, but I don't think we've been such heavy favourites for a game in the Champions League. So we're all going there, being honest about it. Expectations are, look, we've got a really good chance of winning this. We should win this tonight. We've looked at their form. We're playing really well. End of last season, pre-season, start of this season. We've got a really good chance. And if anything, if we've got any aspirations to get beyond the group stage, beyond the 32, 36 team, we've got to win our first game. So there was that bonus. And I think there was a lot of excitement as well because the team's playing well. So the team's playing well, as you know, we're perfect start to the season. So I think we're all feeling optimistic last night. And then, as you know, you get in there, place is mobbed, the music just builds and builds and builds. And then the bit where they're walking down shaking hands, I was looking up to the screen, trying to see the screen, and I caught it just as it was going by Kasper Schmeichel, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously that one chance to see it from a distance, and I thought, he looks as if he's fucking laughing here. So when I got home after the game last night, I kid you not, I thought, I've got to just double check that. And lo and behold, did you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
He was just looking up, kind of shaking his head in awe, as if, fuck me. And I think he made that. I think he made a comment. Was it today?
I've got it here. So on his Instagram, it was a picture of him, and the exact picture as you're talking about. The point is in the crowd, and it was waited nearly 8 years to hear that anthem again. What an incredible atmosphere! Unlike anything I've ever heard in my life. The perfect start to our Champions League campaign. But also the Bratislava player. I don't know, Monty or Ralph, if you saw it. There's one, I think it was like the third Bratislava player in. That guy's smiling even more than the Celtic. This is brilliant. He was loving it. Absolutely loving it.
He leaned over to the mascot, didn't he, and said, listen to this or something.
Honestly, God, he was loving it. And I actually thought of Ralph when I'd watched on the thing with Ralph going, you want Fortress Parkhead? No, Ralph's been going on for years, but make it hard for them, turn off the hot water, etc. And this guy's literally going, this is where you want to be. I mean, this is unbelievable. But if you saw on every report of the day, seems to be every foreign reporter, every European, every UEFA delegate, etc. They've all just been posting, never experienced anything like that. And that was against Slovan Bratislava. No disrespect. It wasn't against Real Madrid.
But to get back to your question, sometimes we've all got recency bias when it comes to things. But I genuinely felt last night when that roar went up and the singing throughout, obviously it helps when we're winning and playing well and scoring goals. But the noise level, I was struggling to think to myself, I'd have to go back to maybe Barcelona, when we beat Barcelona. Was probably the loudest I thought I'd ever heard when Tony Watt, I think, we scored that second goal. And in the Man United game, in Naka's free kick, I think they were the other two that I thought were the loudest I'd ever heard last night. That was right up there.
Yeah. So Monty, just we step back. A lot of talk before the game. Usually we get hectic to do the tactician stuff, but we'll come to you this time. A lot of talk before the game was lineups, and some people seem to be saying Bernardo should be in, Hatate, Engels. Had Engels got up to speed enough, so to speak? So did you have any doubts it would be Hatate and Engels starting alongside Calmac?
No, I think from the Hearts game, Desi, it was clear that's the preferred 11 right now. That's who got the starting positions. That'll change, I think, at the weekend too when we get on to that the cup match. But I think even just for all of the tools that you'd want at your disposal, like Engels looks like a bargain already. Like set pieces, that delivery of ball. I was going to message last night just around, Matt O'Reilly, how much of an upgrade Engels already appears to be after 3, and that's incredible to say. But no, Desi, I think you're looking for pace up front and pressing. You've got such quality in Engels that, now you're getting to see about him. Fucking hell, I think we got a bargain. Hatate is on his game and looks a lot more disciplined. Criticism up in the last couple of years might have been that wee bit of tactical indiscipline. Sometimes he get caught out of position. But no, Desi, no surprises at all. I'm just a wee bit sort of, not puzzled, just a wee bit scratching of head on the Barcelona left back and having not seen him at all yet. But again, I suspect we'll see him at the weekend. So, no. You do feel a wee bit for Bernardo, though, don't you?
Well, I think, again, I think at the end of a game, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but at the end of the game, one of the things I really like to see, and Ralph, you could consider this, one of the things I really like to see is, I thought it was a great team performance, but at the end when they're all celebrating, there was a cracking bit where Ida hugs Kyogo for the back, and Kyogo looks round the two of them are pure smiling. But there was a similar one with Bernardo, and I can't remember, but not like, so as if they all know it's a squad game now. I mean, all right, you'd love to start every game, but nobody's thrown their toys at their dummies at the pram yet. You know what I mean? No. So everybody seems to have
and they're all bought in.
Mm-hmm.
They're all bought in, Desi. Even looking at the likes of, if you think about the likes of Naraki and Welsh, but Trusty's now in there and he's in front of them. And they're still there, and they're still, it's very clear that they're all going to get game time through the year, just by design as much as by accident. There'll be injuries. So it's a happy place at the minute, Desi, and long may that continue.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and so Ralph, that's a good tie in there. Ralph, if you were watching on TV, were you watching the TNT sport coverage at all?
I was. That was the one I watched.
So you would be aware that Celtic had never won an opening Champions League game, and Celtic had a really terrible recent Champions League history. Every comment, if you watch the game back, every comment was negative. It's unbelievable.
I actually felt that Neil Lennon, who was doing the summarising, was kind of sticking up for us a wee bit a few times.
So was Big Mialby. Big Mialby was great.
That was in the studio.
Before we forget, Scott Brown calling Neil Lennon gaffer, and Big Mialby saying, "I will not be calling you gaffer." That was a nice touch.
Well, it was dreadful commentary, but you come to expect that. And although we started the game as favourites, you didn't get that impression from the commentator. I can't remember. Was it Rory McLeod?
Big Rory McLeod. Allegedly a Celtic fan, somebody once said. But if he is, he's really overcompensating because he extracted the joy out of it.
It was dreadful commentary, but ultimately you try and sort of zone that out and just watch a game and concentrate on the game. And I need to agree with Monty there. We've got a squad of 25 players, and I think pretty much all of the ones that would expect to start a game will start a game, because we're not going to get through 8 games without suspensions or injuries, especially in midfield. And it's great to feel that we're covered in it now. We're not relying on somebody just turning up and putting in appeals for the sake of getting his wages. We do have a squad that plays for each other and fights for each other, and that's fantastic to see.
Just on that, if I can, Ralph, to add to that, if you look at who didn't come on last night. And you look at the wide positions, Yang and Palma started loads of games last season. You know, you look at Ida and how Ida finished the season, and now he's come on and he's scored twice now. Where I've seen some people pointing out Kyogo maybe being a wee bit misfiring, but he still scored last night. You know, you have all of this things that were there last season that were starting positions are now, you know, we're not losing any. It feels that we're not losing. Well, if we are losing quality, it's only a small amount now when the changes are made. You know, even with Forrest, I thought Forrest was outstanding last night when he came on again. Brilliant.
I thought the biggest difference last night was, if you remember when we talked about the two previous campaigns, we kept talking about fine margins and maybe a wrong decision here or just not quite quick enough in thinking there. We didn't have that last night. If anything did go wrong, if we lost possession, we kind of regrouped very quickly and we went to get the ball back in packs. But more importantly, if it wasn't on, we didn't take chances. We were much more patient. We worked the defence side to side, which is dreadful to watch sometimes if you're not trying to win. But we were creeping forward as we were doing it and not going back the way. It was constant pressure, but a kind of subtle kind of it.
Right. I was going to leave this question to the end, but I'll just, since I'm coming to you now, Hector, I was going to leave this to the end. Let's just cut to the chase. How many years are you married, Hector?
Oh,
how many years do you want to admit to be married?
31 years now, Desi.
Is your beloved wife aware that you are now in love with Dyson Maeda?
I think the fact that I've got posters and pictures of Dyson all over my house, Desi, sort of gives the game away. Yeah.
You're currently sitting outside the guy's driveway where we're recording this podcast.
You're right. Our listener, George, right? I've been consistent in saying this. Dyson Maeda, I just love him. Is he Celtic's most skillful player? 100% no. He's possibly our least skillful player, Dyson Maeda. But now it's a high bar compared to what it was years ago in terms of the amount of skill we've got in the team. But everything else about, oh my God. I mean, there's some clips doing the rounds last night again today. The pressing he did. And the coverage he did for centre half to full back to midfield, we win possession, and he turns and sprints forward looking for the ball. And you're just, we cover this quite a lot, but you go, how is that fucking humanly possible to do that level of sprints? And by the way, the bit I'm referring to is midway through the second half when they might be blowing out their arse, and he's still doing it. But just switching over, I actually thought last night was a game of two halves. Celtic, the better team in two halves, right? First half I thought was more controlled, a little bit slower round point. They were packed in, it was like playing Hearts at home last night. They were just keeping everything tight, up to about 30 yards from their goal, has to try and break them down, and we moved it okay. But goals change games, and Kyogo, you expect to score at least one of the two great chances he had, right? So the game had been out of sight at half time. But see, as soon as the first whistle went in the second half, we just hit a booster button. We took it way up, and it was interesting listening to Rodgers when I watched some of the highlights last night, and he actually talked about that, and he said he felt in the first half, well, we controlled the ball well, we're taking one or too many extra touches. It was too slow. So he said we got to half time with a chat about it, and he goes, I just said a couple of things. Just said to players, one less touch, let the ball do the work. And the second thing, it was really fucking insightful, right? He said he actually felt in the first half there was too much movement with some positions. It's fun. Don't you often hear that? And he was saying to the players, no, just try and hold your position slightly more in the more advanced areas because the space is there to turn. And that was, it's like, fuck, I never, just things like that. That's why he's a fucking top level coach and we're just mad amateurs. But it was just fascinating listening to him. But I thought the second half performance was elite from us in terms of passing the ball, in terms of the pace and energy, and as a group, pressing to win the ball. Every area of the pitch, we're hunting down in packs of 3s and 4s in the second half. And for me, it was just one of the best performances I've seen us in a long time, over 90 minutes. Atletico Madrid last year, first 45 were brilliant. They're a far better team than Bratislava, I give you right. But for 90 minutes, we controlled the entire game. A bit slow in the first half, second half was just fucking dynamite. So I thought it was great. Great performance.
Yeah, right. So, and again, I'll come on to my a couple of points soon, but sticking to the first half, just to herald, it's probably not even an unsung hero now, Monty, if you're free. Liam Scales. Once again, big question. Once, like I've got a note here regards players stepping up, competition for places, and I've noted Taylor and Hatate. But I also forgot to note Scales. He's probably the one that stepped up the most in response to he'll be the first one out the team. Once again last night, Monty, stalwart and a scorer.
I think we noted it one or two sort of discussions podcasts ago that when we signed Trusty, there's a fair chance that the minute Scales made a mistake, he'd probably be out of the team, which is just the nature of competition for places. But actually, Desi, I was watching him last night going, you wouldn't drop him. He feels, watching him, it feels like he's growing more and more into being Celtic's left-sided centre-half and is comfortable, far more comfortable at that level. Remember, last year was his first full season of having the pressures of Celtic. You know, amount of games, you know, absolute necessity to win in a transition year too to another manager that's going to be pushing boundaries and who said Scales is probably the biggest surprise he's ever had in football. So, but fucking immense. Now, he's going to get tested harder in a couple of weeks in Dortmund, and you know, Lookman and Atalanta is going to probably tear all of them for pace. You know that's coming, but right now, Desi, and on last night, did he put a foot wrong? Did he make an error? I don't think he did. I don't think he misplaced the ball once. I know he tried a couple of those. He's not a forward. He's not a centre half. He's going to make that type of pass that Forrest made for Ida, but he'll try it because obviously he's been told to try it. But no, I don't think he put a foot wrong. I think he won everything.
There was one early on when he ventured into their half on the left-hand side and they lunged into a tackle. And to be fair to Bratislava, the first 10 minutes, one of the things I thought they were very good at was playing the ball out for the back. Once they got to the halfway line, they were a wee bit kind of out of ideas, but they were very comfortable bringing it out. So Scales lunged inside their half, and suddenly, I don't know where the rest of their defence disappeared to, but they had the whole half in Rice. But Rice divered, which allowed AJ to get back, but it was Scales who actually blocks it. He actually gets back to block it. So that was some good. But that just made me think there, Ralph, in respect to competition for places, the squad, the actual quality levels increasing. Are we at the stage now where it's not automatic that a Bernardo 4 million or a Trusty 5 million goes straight into the team because the players who are there aren't doing anything worthy of being dropped? They're just playing good enough that they can actually maintain their position.
Well, there was an interview with Rodgers after the game where he said that players like Taylor and like Scales are not the big name players that maybe fans are looking for, but they're the guys that stand up and they're counted when you need them. And we used to say sometimes that it would maybe be that they performed in training or they'd done something, during the week that earned them the place. But it's what they're doing week in, week out that's keeping them the place. And like you say, who's coming in, with the possible exception of Engels, that they'll get a starting place right away. Adam Ida was £9 million and he's not starting, even domestically.
Yeah.
Did we have, Ralph and Desi, did we have 4 Champions League debuts last night? I think we did. Trusty, Ida, Kuhn, and did Kuhn play last year? And Engels?
No, he was
He was January saying. That's another. Remember we talked about this. That 4 players making their debut at that level. Kuhn had a very good game. Ida has scored. Engels scored. And Trusty came on to be blooded. Ironically, in place of Carter Vickers and not Scales. So.
Yeah. So Hector, like the notes I've got here, the game first half, I thought Taylor and Hatate linked up great. Kyogo and Maeda missed a few really good chances. Some lovely football, great pressing, super skills. We were lucky with that one he missed. But let's talk about Arne Engels. Is that the difference? £11 million gets you a guy who can turn up and immediately show that guy's really, really good. You know what I mean? He's no just playing against Queen's Partner friendly in the summer. He's turning up in the Champions and he's really, really good. One word, physicality.
It's something that Rodgers has consistently said is the team. This is going back to last year's campaign. The team needs physicality at this level. A lot of fans, we're no pros at his level at Rodgers, obviously, thinking, what's that? Is that like a Victor Wanyama? But what we're talking about, because it can mean many things. A big guy at 6'4" with muscles that's just going to fucking try and bully people. But in terms of physicality, Engels has just got. It's interesting. Is he about 6'1"? Height wise, he's about 6'1", right? But it's the pace and power he has as well. In terms of when he gets the ball, easy pass and moves into space, which is pretty normal at that level. He's not got the ball. It's the ground he covers to try and win it back. And I just feel 2.5 games. He got the last 20 against Rangers, wasn't it? Last 25. He just looks like an absolute player. And it's we're trying not to use hyperbole with somebody just done, because we've all been there before. Somebody started well and you go, oh fuck, they become rubbish, or vice versa. But you're looking at this guy thinking he's just 20 turning 21. He's just made his Belgian national debut. He's in with some world class players there. And already after 2 games, you're going, this guy's a babysitting exercise for Celtic. That this guy, maybe this season and next season, if we're lucky, we'll have him. Just enjoy him. But there's one thing, Daisy, I've just got to raise, and it was when we signed him. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast. Maybe I did. I didn't. There was a guy, an Augsburg fan, who, when we signed him, was talking away on Twitter to Celtic fans about, and they were all asking, "What's he like? What's this boy like?" And the one thing that stood out, at the time, I didn't want to say it, but may as well say it now because you can see it. He says, at the same age, he's very similar to De Bruyne, very similar. And at first you're going, what? See, after 2.5 games, you can actually see where the guy was kind of coming from. De Bruyne's 30, 31. This kid's 10 years younger. Physicality, the pace, the passing. Look at the way he strikes the ball. Not just his set pieces. See, he digs it, go for the edge of the box. The power in them. So I think £11 million looks as if we've got a bargain at £11 million. And if anything, if he's the success we think he's going to be, it should hopefully lead to getting 1 or 2 more players at that level in over the next couple of seasons.
There was a list. Sorry, Ralph, go ahead.
Ralph?
Yeah, who talked him into coming to Celtic? That's a bit accurate.
Victor Wanyama.
Peter Law.
Right. So, Ralph, this to read you a tweet from Gastro_Celtic. I'll tell you what, if Arnie Engels keeps scoring penalties at this rate, he's going to end up in the Rangers Hall of Fame. Cool, calm and collected, Ralph. Is that what we expect for your penalty takers?
It's not something we'll have a lot to do of. Do you know what he reminds me of? And this is maybe giving away my age. It's not the pace, it's not the power. It's the way he carries himself around the pitch. It's what you would call a presence. And that's, if you cast your mind back, it was George Connolly. Way back when it's one of the players that I looked up to as a kid, or kind of idolised just because of the coolness of it. The matter of factness, there's pressure and everything, but he didn't seem to feel it. I don't think Engels does either. That may be way too soon to make that comparison, but that's...
Can I ask you a question, right? Just on this. So Engels has come in effect, the replacement for Matt O'Reilly in terms of, one out, one in terms of starting 11. Not the exact same type of player, but he's in effect took that place. Looking at the two of them at that level, who do you think brings more to the first 11 for Celtic?
Well, Engels, because O'Reilly's at Brighton.
Right. I think your data points, if we're going to go analytical, will be a bit.
No, I'm not.
Short.
The eye test is. I'm talking
eye test for me. For me, honestly, Hector, and I've only seen him a couple of games. Engels.
Yeah, but
I'll tell you why.
I think, see, like, it's strange. It's the classic forgetting about your old girlfriend because you've got a new
But
girlfriend.
no. I'll tell you why. His dead ball delivery is the best dead ball delivery we've had. I was going to say Commons had a good dead ball delivery since Commons.
No, Griffiths surely.
But no, did Griffiths take our corners?
Griffiths was good with corners.
Yeah, I suppose. But no, seriously, Desi, that his dead balls. We look a threat at corner kicks with a team of midgets.
I don't know. I think it's
he's got two goals in 3 games, and you know me about goal scoring metrics. You get 2 goals or a goal every 2 games.
How many goals did you score at Celtic Park again? How many goals have you
scored?
Goal
every 2 games is a metric that you can stand over. He's got 2 and 3 now.
Desi, don't get upset. It's only a question.
I am not.
Why do you hate Angles so much, Desi?
I'm sorry. I am not.
He's got that anti-Belgian bias, or you had the anti-Swedish bias.
I am not taking my Matt O'Reilly posters down off my wall for Arnie Engels just yet. That's all I'm saying. I couldn't praise the guy enough. I've literally wrote that. Is that what you get with an £11 million player compared to a £4 million player? You can slot straight in, and you'd think you'd been there for a year. I mean, it's like you wouldn't if you said to anybody watching that game last night, who do you think's the new guy in the team? You would not do the pick Engels. Know what I mean?
He's Van Dijk, Desi. He's the same as Van Dijk.
Exactly.
When Lennon signed Van Dijk, he told him after the first couple of training sessions, "Don't buy anywhere. You'll be gone in 2 years."
Yeah. So I'm Matt O'Reilly done a great job. I think one of the great things with Engels, Hector, and Monty, you can comment on this. I think again is Ralph touched on the presence, but he's also got the presence of mind. Like he's happy for people to come in and challenge him, and he just moves or turns or shoulders them. No, that way. So he is that. I just looked there. He's only 6 foot apparently, so he's not exactly the biggest of guys as in this big warhorse, but he's a real modern footballer, a real tough, talented modern footballer. I mean, taking up a level.
That athleticism, Desi. McGregor's a wonderful footballer. Hattadi's a wonderful footballer, but neither of the two of them are that modern, athletic, 6 foot plus midfielder, and that's what we've missed. And Bernardo, interestingly, 5'11", 6 foot. I think Bernardo's 6 foot as well. Bernardo and Engels, for me, I can't wait to see the two of them start, because I think Bernardo's extra dig and just that wee bit more athleticism in the middle. You know, it's a balance. You're not dropping McGregor, so now you're losing Hattadi's creativity. But I think those two with McGregor would be formidable. I really do.
Well, Bernardo's the same height as me. That's nice to know. 5'11", 1.8 metres.
You're only 5'7", Desi, for
5'4". Hold on there. Bring me this chair up a bit.
Even your wife calls you wee man.
No, that's not to do with my height. No, but again, interestingly, you touched on there, Monty, but it's also like aspects like the stamina, being able to play at that level for 90 minutes. Whereas even like Hattati and that is the Tom Rogic factor. You can be good for 70, and then you need your squad replacement. You know what I mean? That's we've still got a bit of that, but obviously that's
development.
Brendan would be looking.
How great a problem is this? How great a problem is this?
Exactly. So that's strange because I've already wrote that question down near the end, similar to that. I'll come to the end, right? But Ralph, let's move on to the second half. And I want to highlight something that I think every footballer loves, and it's seen a winger terrorise a fullback. Nicholas Kuhn had a quiet first half, and you saw Rodgers having to talking to him as if not hog a line. And Hector mentioned about the moving too much, but it just seemed he came out the second half and immediately said, "Alistair Johnson, me and you are going to run riot here," and it was just it's a joy to watch. I just love watching a winger who can just say to a guy, "I'm going to take you, and you can't do anything about it." He was inside, he was outside, he was cutting back, he was cutting across. Wonderful.
Well, last season, maybe even early this season, he was kind of limited to his left foot, but last night he was using both of them when he was crossing the ball. So like you said, it was inside, outside, it was whichever way he felt he was going to get by them, and that's the way he went. He wasn't playing to his strengths, he was playing to their weaknesses. And that's a much better way of attacking people. The The other thing, you mentioned there about two wingers. Having the extra athleticism in midfield means that we might approach the games in Dortmund and, is it Bergamo, Atlanta play?
Yeah, Atalanta, yeah.
We might approach those games a wee bit differently with four midfielders and closing it down, just using any two from three forwards, which would probably be Kyogo and Maeda, with Kuhn coming on again to add that pace. I don't think, whereas Postecoglou said that he was sticking with the 4-3-3, whatever, Rodgers hasn't said that. He's got a squad and he's got players that he'll obviously utilise to whatever's in front of him, I think. That wee bit more maturity. So I thought I'd add that wee bit because it's interesting that we've got some kind of players in the middle. And that doesn't exclude Luke McCowan, who could be very useful in the way European games because he can hit the ball for distance and hit the target.
Yeah, that's again. He get his first goal. If we go by him, he get his first goal. I should have highlighted that regards the SPFL. That was good to see him getting his first goal, and Big Engels get his first goal too. But that was good. But yeah, so like Kuhn, it was because I was hoping that this wasn't going to fade, no that way. Like you get expectations, and then you get into the Champions League, and then he actually still turns up. That second half was amazing. I thought. Hector Kyogo scores with his waist or his hip, which was nice. This bundles at home. And again, Monty touched on him earlier on. There's been a few folk grumbling, well, come on, Kyogo's misfiring, blah, blah, blah. You don't know if Eder's thinking, surely I'm getting on here, I'm getting on. Brendan just sticks with it. And then Kyogo scored Hector, but you've noted this a few times. He started that coming deep and swapping with Hatate, which led to actually the fourth goal. It was Kyogo fed Hatate who fed Maeda. You know what I mean?
That's what Rodgers has added to his game, which we've discussed before. Kyogo struggled with it last season. For the first few months, he was really struggling because his tactics with Ange was stay high. Shoulder. In effect, stay within the penalty box lines and stay high. And you can see him struggling with it last year, coming deep, and a lot of criticism aimed at Rodgers' way, but you can see what it does to his game and our game, the space it creates for others. I would say at times his first touch isn't the best. Sometimes Kyogo, he's more a, give him a wee half chance. He's in there, but I think when he's got to maybe take that touch 30 yards out, he maybe just panics just a wee bit, if that makes sense, rather than just take a touch and ping it. Maybe being a wee bit critical there, but what I like about him, he never hides. Those two in the first half, the keeper made one great save, to be fair, the first one, but you'd expect to score at least one. Head didn't go down. There he was, in for, as you say, that wonderful piece of play for Kuhn. So Eder coming on was also great. See him coming on and scoring. The entire squad must be buzzing with confidence right now. They're all contributing. They're all scoring. But there's somebody put the stat out. 5 different scorers last night with 5 different people creating the assists. I mean, that's an incredible stat. So the only thing for us is, I don't want to talk about it right now. We'll come to it probably at the end, but it's the next couple of games. But for now, based on last night, it's hard to find any criticism. Possibly 2 wee bits for me, if we're going to just cover everything. Taylor for their goal, come on, got to do better. That's amateur stuff, right? But the guy's finish was unbelievable. Let's be honest. He could hit that 99 times and win again. That shot, right?
Me and Bobby Bluebell are both of the contention of Carter Vickers touched it, and I don't know if it actually would have went in if he hadn't touched it. And then so I've written here their goal, forget about their goal, ignore their daft goal, blame the disco lights for Taylor's miss kick. So I don't know how he tries to clear it and it goes into your box. It was just one of the weird, silly, lack of concentration. But we could have cleared it before then. I think Carter Vickers had the chance.
No, but it's Taylor.
Exactly. But
it was amateur, right? And the other thing was Carter Vickers. We're 4-1 up, and he takes a late booking. There was no need. We can't afford these daft bookings.
Yeah, he had a few. Carter Vickers had a few because he had one. He passed it to Engels. Engels didn't even know it was coming. No, that way. And I think it was just before he went off and all. And as if he'd kind of lost a wee bit of concentration in the game, Carter Vickers. And I think they was mindful of getting
we'll get 8 group games, and Carter Vickers is one of our key players. He's one of that's fine. And to get a daft booking, we was at 10 minutes to go. That's why he gets subbed, does he? He gets subbed because obviously he'd been booked already. They might take a risk with it. But just wee things, wee subtle things. Come on, just screw them up a wee bit. Need.
Right, yeah. Well, if we're going to go into that, so like Monty, I've got here. It's a strange positive. I mean, a great performance. No taking anything away from it. But again, I've written here strange positive that there's still room to improve. And what I meant with it is that means Needy's going to get complacent. Rodgers is going to come in and go, do you realise, all right, he's done well, but do you realise you also done A, B, C, B, all the way doing all the mistakes? You know what I mean? All the lack of concentration, all the switching off, these sort of things.
Yeah, that you've seen it in the documentary. This is a working day for us. I think today would be very much a working day for them, Desi, and the standards that are there. People talked about him the first time he was there, that Rodgers lifted the entire standards of the club at that time, and no doubt he's every bit there, if not above that, and he's just following on from Postecoglou. So we operate at a level of professionalism, Desi, that would be expected of a big European club. I have a funny feeling, as you said, today there'll be people going over the video going, why were you there? Why were you not 3 yards to the left when you've been coached that all week? And that just, consuming and sponging up of information to evolve as a team. Engels talked a little bit about it too, and I've read in some of the coverage today, like he's making runs, but he's not being seen. But that's because they just haven't worked on it long enough yet. So you've got all of this opportunity for improvement as a group. And then also with the individuals, Desi, that it just augurs so well. And, but it can all go to shit real quick. Let's not forget that. It can all go tits up very fast.
Exactly. As Hector says, like Carl Vickers gets booked again, or a niggle, and suddenly he's out for your 2 big games, and we're relying on, it might not be trusted, whatever, he's not with speed. Suddenly you're looking at Stephen Welsh again. Nothing against Stephen Welsh, but again, so this is hopefully how the bigger squad ties in. Yeah. But Ralph, this coming to you, their goal, I tweeted last night, one of the good things about last night's game was no just the 5 goals. It was seeing Schmeichel absolutely gone mental at conceding that goal. He was raging.
Well, that's 2 he's conceded now. So
Schmeichel out.
Need to watch his step, otherwise it'll be Scott Bain again back.
No, but we've got a new guy for Aston Villa, remember.
He's just a boy. We need the reliability of Bain. The whole thing was a lot smoother last night, but it's also maybe worth mentioning that nothing was held up with VAR checks. The referee pretty much stuck to his decisions, even if he was getting a word in his earpiece, he kept with it. The penalty maybe got checked. I think that's the only instance I can think of. But everything else, his word was law, and that was VAR doing what VAR should be doing, just assisting him. If he needs to do something or he's not sure about something, he can ask. There was no intervention, there was no hold on, you need to change that decision. And if there's anybody from Willie Collins' office watching that last night, they should maybe take that into the domestic game.
Did you notice the difference in technology, Ralph? Did you see how quickly the proper 3D virtual reality rendering of Maeda's position versus the hand-drawn lines with the Masonic squiggles in the middle?
No tip pens.
Exactly. Goat spoof stamps.
Yeah, but I work with a Kilmarnock fan, and he said to Ard, he's like, is there no somebody who helps Willie Collum? And I went, they've appointed this guy for England, that ex-referee in England. I was like, as soon as I appointed, I can't remember the guy's name, but as soon as I appointed him, you had a bunch of English fans saying, this guy's murder. He referees, say, Spurs v Leeds, and he was absolutely atrocious. So we're just going from bad to worse. But let's stick with Celtic last night, right? So we did the Maeda 4th goal, Hector. Then we made a few subs. So Forrest comes on, Monty mentioned before, Ida comes on. And then the 5th goal, I just thought it was, see if you watch it again, it's a beautiful thing. Hector, I don't know if you've watched it back and noticed it, but Ida tells Forrest, hold on a minute, wait a minute, and he runs round the back of Forrest as if he's getting pace, as if he's getting like a slingshot, and then he starts gabbing, and then suddenly he's up to full speed, and Forrest just finds the pass perfectly.
You're spot on. It was noticeable, wasn't it? You actually saying to Forrest, just wait, and he overlapped Forrest. But Forrest's pass was fucking inch perfect. and he does finish.
Oh.
See to run at that pace and just calmly side foot the ball. First touch, one touch at the corner. That's hard. And it was just a beautiful goal. I'm delighted for him because he was so unlucky at the weekend. Another dubious one was fucking called. I thought it was onside. He was onside. I thought Palmer was called offside for the cross at the weekend. It was a great finish. I was just hoping to get a wee goal to get his confidence up. So that was a great goal. In fact, the fourth goal as well, Desi, just going back to that. The three Japanese guys linking up, wasn't it? You mentioned Kyogo coming deep. But then the ball came to Rio, and this is where it's the wee subtle things. Watch that goal again if you haven't seen it, and watch how Rio takes the ball almost the half volley and does a Cruyff through the inside of the edge.
Through his own legs while running at speed.
On
Unbelievable.
The half volley, it's like almost been fucking skipped over. Go and look at that. See people who moan about Rio Hatate. Seriously, go and fucking look at what he did there. Probably no other player could do that, right? And then the touch. By the way, Dyson, who we know his technique's no his strongest, but his first touch was fucking phenomenal. Then the finish. So it was a great goal, and I thought all the goals were really good. It's hard to pick fault. You know, some nights it's just that it went for us. It's been long overdue for all of us. We've all been getting to the Champions League and getting fucking home to Real Madrid and PSG and Barcelona, and you're going, fuck, right? But the one thing with Dad with the team now is last year in the Champions League, and then with Andy's second season, was we've now got a bit of experience. No, this younger squad is built up maybe 10 games over the last 2-3 seasons now. They've got a lot of scars, but also a lot of development. They've learnt a lot. So I think that's come to fruition a wee bit. An easier opponent, obviously, is the big differential, but it doesn't matter. Didn't just beat them, they dismantled that team. 8-1 was probably a fair reflection of the score last night. So a lot of positives. And I loved one of Callum McGregor's comments. He was asked, it wasn't TNT Sport, I think it was Radio Scotland, they asked him, you know, about the next games and should Celtic fans be excited? And he said, yeah. He goes, why not? This is an opportunity. Let's go for it. And I love that. Usually we're reluctant to be confident, but go for it. Fucking go for it. So, over the moon, Desimond, over the fucking moon.
Nice. I'd just like to check, Hector, have you got another Twitter account at Swedley Pops? Because I've got someone here saying, I'm convinced Dyson Maeda is from another planet. And I also loved Dyson Maeda tweeted, thank you for the wonderful support. And this is this perfect sentence. I'll keep running for the team. And he's got a wee sprinter icon.
No, Desi, read that again. Do the translator. I'll keep running for you, Hector. That's what he's got on his thing. No, I'll keep running from you.
No, that's what I was going to say. I'll keep the restraining orders up, Hector. That's what that meant.
Desi, do you know what? See, if I stalked him, he'd probably just smile.
Exactly.
Probably just smile.
You just know he would hug and offer you tea and cookies. Is that so much of a lovely man? So that was last night, and I did the match report today on etims.net, and I got to man of the match Monty, and I just wrote man of the match the whole team, because all the people at least 4 players really stood out in the first half. Your Taylors, your Hatatis, Engels, etc. And then the second half, you had like AJ turning up, you had your Kyogos, etc. and Kuhn. I mean, there was a whole team. Then the subs came on. They contribute. Even Bernardo, I thought, did very well when he came on for his wee 15 minutes. So it was a perfect team performance. And that's exactly what we need moving forward. Not just 1 or 2 stars.
Yeah, and it's good when you're seeing it click like that. You know, as Hector said, you'd be real fucking, be real louse to pick fault in that. We won 5-1 at home, but as you say, the goals, and read an interesting quote, I think, from Rodgers. His teams, they share the goal burden in order not to overload one person with expectation. So that whole team ethos again comes to the fore. But it's just a nice thing, Desi, when we click. The goals we scored were superb. The goal they scored outside of that pub was fucking top drawer as well. We're in a good place, And I think the more that team ethos can be developed, because that's Roger's strength, the more that he can develop that. And he's talking a lot more now as Hector would have wanted. He's all in. We're getting full Brendan now, which is great. But full Brendan's talking not about the team and the psyche, but about Celtic and the romance of Celtic. It's fucking great. I feel like I'm engrossed in the novel and I'm falling in love again, And it was nice to hear the Green Brigade singing his Brent Rogers song, although half-heartedly still yet. So,
yeah, let's not go all in just yet. Come on, let's hold back a wee bit. Look at Hector; he's about to jump through the screen at me there. Right.
I'm just checking Celtic's still second in the group.
Still
By the way.
Did Leverkusen get a fifth goal? No.
No.
4-0.
Four.
We're still us and Bayern in the final, Desi. That's how.
My days is.
On things relevant for us, Leipzig went 1-0 ahead against Atletico, but it's one each. And who's the other one? Atlanta. Atlanta should be ahead against Arsenal. So just to put things in context.
Right. Okay. We were talking about some old previous players, etc. Ralph, Mr. Vladimir Weiss, captain of Bratislava, and his dad was the manager. So I noted in the match report, and I never even realised his dad was the manager for Art Media back in the day, but TNT Media made sure that TNT Sport made sure they told us last night. It was nice to see him getting our big ironic round of boo/cheers as he gets subbed for being a wee dick.
I think his old man's a wee bit, shall we say, showing signs of his advancing age, because he said there was no shame in losing 5-0 after the game. So I don't think he even noticed that his team scored. I think it was just maybe shell-shocked throughout the whole thing, but it was nice to get back and rip for that night against Art Media, because that was horrible. That was a game where we started everything 20 minutes too late, otherwise would have definitely overcome them. Anyway, that's me just reliving a bad memory.
Right, but again, that's just the new Celtic tradition of new managers having shitty starts. Strachan, Rodgers, Postecoglou. I mean, that's just how it is now. That's just a new modern trait that we've got.
There was on earlier that young Vladimir Weiss had said, I think we'd been beaten 6-1 by whoever's turn it was to be at 6-1 a couple of years ago. Said that the Celtic had been raped, I think was the word they used.
Yeah.
League. Shouldn't even be allowed to participate. So that was that bit of an arse, didn't it?
Yeah, but surely the funny, I don't know if you saw the clips today, the funniest bit was him standing when he gets subbed and he's sitting at the touchline talking to his friend. Big Sebo was in the crowd.
That's right, yeah.
And the Rangers legend. I mean, it was like, really? That man that's the definition of infamous. You know what I mean? Look up infamous in the dictionary. There's a photo of one of his shots going high and wide over the bar. You know what I mean? Still gets cried out every Sunday five-a-side league. You know what I mean?
Really, Vladimir Baravchik came from the same country as they idiots. It really is. But when you see Slovakian teams that we've seen at Celtic Park, how did he end up being of the same ilk? Did he leave when he was about 3 or something?
Who knows? There's always anomalies, isn't there? These things happen. It's very strange. But so interestingly, right? So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves because that's another. That's another trap we can fall into. I think it was Big Ben's wrote. We were winning this, didn't we, last night when we went 4-1 up.
Desi, milk every fucking minute the next.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, especially again. I think after last night, and I know we were playing the lowest ranked team, but there's a lot of areas that we can have growing confidence for that last night. Coming up against your young boys. Who else do we have at home? Dynamo.
Bruges at home.
Oh, Bruges, sorry, right. So we should be looking at saying, right, we should have full confidence going into the game that there's nothing to fear here. No, it wasn't as if we were misfiring or anything, and we can still get better. So I think it's really interesting. Right, but I just want to, so we know what the result was, 5-1, etc., etc. I like to do a prediction on Twitter before the game. My prediction had been Maeda to score, Celtic +2. Hector, do you know anybody who maybe had a bet on last night?
Well, funny you should ask that question, Desi. My youngest and I, we tend to every home game again, and it's William Hills is in the concourse, and we do a correct score. And to be fair, we get a few over the course of the season. We're probably doing okay. So last night, two of us said, "What do you think?" And he said, "I think it was 4-0." He said, "I can't remember." I just had the feeling we might lose one, but I thought, you know what? If we click, let's go for it 5-1. So I put a fiver on each, and a nice wee 33-1. So 165 quid. Yeah, that's nice. So yeah, the thing is with these bets, and I know for those who go to the games or even no go to the games, you've got a bet on it. It's the nice odds like that. Seems it goes 5-1. Right? You know where I'm going with this one, right? You're like, oh fuck, how long's left to go? What is it, about fucking 6 minutes? Injury time. Oh fuck.
There's no cash out in the stadium.
Blow the whistle there. Fucking added time. Pish. Subs don't count, right? And you can't help yourself. So I didn't want to jinx. Didn't say anything. And then the fella beside me, he usually puts a wee one as well. I said to him at the end, there you go. And, oh, fucking great. So there, a lovely wee added Brucey bonus, Desi, to a fantastic night made even better.
Perfect. A cherry on the top. Paul Gallagher, one of the lovely guys on Twitter, his pal every week has the same bet. Liam Scales to score, Celtic to win 5-1. £3,005 he won last night. He put that up. So he's like that. He's like, we laugh at this guy every week putting the same bet on. We're not laughing tonight. You know what I mean? So congratulations there.
Imagine him the last 5 minutes. Imagine him the last 5, 6, whatever minutes.
Well, he would have been looking at the cash out button, I think. Know what I mean? But that was nice. I had a similar experience. I was at Salford City's ground on Saturday watching Salford play Cheltenham Town. Nice to get 4 pints of lager while watching the football. That was a nice wee experience. And I'd recommend if you ever get a chance, go and visit Salford City football ground, a wee 6,000 stadium. Nice, a very nice steak and gravy pie. But we had Salford to win 2-1. They were getting horsed 1-0. It should have been 4-0 to Cheltenham. And then Salford came back, scored one, and then scored a late minute winner. The whole 200 days in the stand went mental. So that was a nice wee touch. So my wife won 50 quid for that.
Were you hugging Nicky's butt?
Oh, sadly there was none of the Rat Pack, Brat Pack, none of them were available. But if anyone's ever bored, £15 I know, it was like cheap as chips. So I'd recommend it if you ever get a chance. Go and see a wee trip to Salford City. Very nice wee ground. That was my experience. So that talking about smaller teams, so that brings us to 5-1 done. Moving on, we're looking at the weekend, Monty. Falkirk in the Cup. Do you expect massive changes, or will Brendan just keep them ticking over?
No, I think we'll see Tele, the Spanish left back. I think he'll get a game. Trusty, I think, will start. Ida, I think, will start. Probably see McCown come in. I think we will see a lot of changes there, Desi. But again, not with any concern. I think it's just about giving boys game time and keeping them sharp. And if you were to walk through a potential starting 11, I think Sinisalo will probably get a game. But then it's hard to know. Like he used Joe Hart. Mm-hmm. Like Joe Hart played every game. He didn't drop Joe Hart out for the league matches or League Cup. But if you're to walk through, Ralston, Trusty, Scales probably stays in just because he's there. Telia, McCown, Bernardo, McGregor still starts. Yeah. You could have Palma, Yang, or Palma, Forrest, and Ida. Fuck me, like that was a team that we'd have struggled to put out at some stages last season. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean in terms of quality. So yeah, I think we'll see lots of changes, Desi, but I wouldn't be remotely concerned about us maybe taking the foot off the gas or dropping the ball here. I think it's testament to the strength of the squad at the minute.
What about you, Hector? You similar thoughts?
I think that's the whole point of the squad rotation, isn't it? Really, we've just had a tough. We won convincingly, but it takes a lot out of them mentally, physically. The midweek Champions League nights. So yeah, I'd expect several. As I think Monty alluded to there, at least half a dozen. I don't think I'd make 11. I don't think that's quite the right thing to do, but maybe 5, 6, 7, maybe. And even the ones who did start on Wednesday night, who may start at the weekend, if we're doing okay, they're the ones that will get subbed. I'd imagine a bit of common sense with it. One thing I would say though, just in terms of Falkirk, Falkirk's flying in terms of the championship.
Yeah.
Ayr made a great start, also with Bruni running the team there. John McGlynn's the Falkirk manager. For those who don't know, John McGlynn also worked for Celtic previously. Brendan, in his first spell at Celtic, brought John McGlynn in. He did a lot of coaching, and they're very tight. And in fact, John McGlynn, I think, said himself, he's one of Brendan, all of us. He's a disciple of Brendan's. There we go. I'm sure
The
Brendan
touch of Brendan.
Yeah, but interesting enough, McGlynn's Falkirk play a similar style to Rogers Celtic. They're very attacking, very possession orientated, and they're flying. And in the previous round, they pumped Hearts 2-0. And by the way, apparently it was 2 going on 4 or 5-0. They pumped Hearts. So I would just say, those turning up thinking we're going to win 6-0, we maybe will do. Just don't underestimate the team coming here at the weekend.
Yeah, Ralph, that sounds a wee bit similar to, remember a few years back, I think it was Rogers' team, and I think it was Jack Ross's St Mirren or similar. Like they were, I think they were in the lower league, but they were playing real football, and Rogers came out and praised them because I think they more than held their own for 65, 70 minutes until Scott Sinclair came on and basically took the game by the scruff of the neck.
I think it was a wee bit closer than it should have been, and I think for that reason, I'm kind of going to mix with what Monty and Hector say. I don't think there'll be as many changes, maybe just 4, possibly maximum of 5, but I think there'll be more substitutes made earlier,
maybe
to freshen it up and to keep people involved. I can't see him changing a whole defence, for instance, a new goalkeeper, and I think that would just be risking too much. Rogers wants his trebles, so I think, and you know how badly it can go wrong in just one game. So
yes. Apparently, the Stoke Just Eat is the best Just Eat delivery service in Britain. Yeah, I think
quite
one of
the text
one of the
notification.
interesting aspects is Alistair Johnson appeared to have a wee bit of an ego last night, Carter Vickers seemed a bit troubled. So you don't know if maybe a wee bit of a dead leg or just a wee bit of discomfort. So they might need either dropped. But again, I think I'm a wee bit with Ralph. I think they've all still got that competitive edge where give me at least 30 minutes, boss. You know what I mean? So I think there will be a good wee bit of kind of involvement rather than just go and sit in the stand or take a day off. You know what I mean? But they've earned the right to do whatever they like. So quick prediction, Monty, what's your prediction?
I think we'll be comfortable, Desi. I'd say we'll win 3. I think 3-0, maybe 3-1, just on account of the changes, but we'll be comfortable.
Okay, I'll go for 2-1. They'll get a late consolation. Hector?
Go with Monty, 3-1.
Okay, Ralph?
it's great to see you all think Falkirk will score against us when only Hibs have so far.
We're working on the premise of chopping and changing, so a wee bit of discomfort to the norm, so that allows them a wee chance, even a wee set piece. Plus, of course, I don't know, do you get VAR in the League Cup? I was going to say VAR, but even the referees factor, of course. That referee at the weekend, for example, absolutely atrocious.
Nah, you'd have to you need to pick Kasper Schmeichel. Wow, that's a difficult one to say. You need to lock him in his bedroom to stop him from playing. So I don't think that'll change, and I think he's kind of proud of his record so far. So at the 3-0 and all the goals in the first hour.
Right. Okay. So that was the Champions League and the League Cup this weekend. But now, okay, Hector, quick.
Can I just ask you a question? Just dipping back to the Champions League, right? Quick question, around you's all right.
Oh, sorry, Hector. Does this question involve the blue police lights flashing outside Ralph's house right at this point?
You know, if only the folk could see what we can see, right? And I don't mean looking at Ralph's face. I mean behind Ralph, right? It's just a sea of fucking flashing police lights.
It's like a Sunday night BBC drama this week on Night Sleeper. The train reaches Stoke.
I know. I was just going to ask you, right? So just dipping back briefly to the Champions League. So 1-5 won last night, 8 group games. One game in. Daisy, start with you. What would you say our chances are of finishing in the top 24, the knockout round?
I think what have we got? 3 games left at home. I think we've got. I would give a 80% chance based on last night. I think, as I said, my goal was not to get beat at home at the Champions League. I wasn't asking for 4 straight wins, but I think if we can maintain that, I think we've got a very good chance.
So you think we'll get through the last 24?
Yes.
80%. Ralph?
We're in the unusual position of having won our first game in group stage football. And that includes, like, Scotland as well. Winning that first game cannot be underestimated as to what it does for the rest of the tournament. And I think I watched the English Match of the Day programme, where incidentally, we were the first game on, which was quite telling as well. All the English teams come on afterwards. And they did a wee Opta thing, which calculated how many points would give you what percentage of qualifying, etc. And they reckon 9 points will get us into the top 24, something like a 97% chance. But what was interesting was 15 points would get a 75% chance of getting in the top 8. 4 home games is 12 points. Right, again, we're maybe being wildly optimistic. There's a lot of factors to come into play. But there's no reason why we can't win all our home games. And taking Sunday, Aston Villa are dreadful. Zagreb, they've maybe already given up already. So there's 2 away games. And
well done, Hector.
It's fucking brilliant.
I'm laughing because she wants Dortmund, or who's Dortmund pump is 5-1.
Exactly,
right?
guaranteed.
And I'm going to ask you guys the same question, right? I'm going to ask you all the exact same question. That's part of why I was asking this, right? I'm dying to hear Ralph's answer, right? Fuck it, 3 points for Max.
I'll tell you the scariest result I saw this week has been Bayern Munich, the 9-2. It's the fact that Dynamo scored 2 against Munich, and I'm like, wait a minute, if they can score 2 against Munich, let's not get over complacent.
So Rob's got us in the top 8, which I love. So fuck the top 24. You've got us in the top 8. That's even better. Monty, what you going for? Top 24? Are we doing it?
I think we'll do top 24, Hector. I don't think we'll do top 16. I think we'll either be on 8 points or 9 points. I think we'll take something out of 4 games and we'll get fuck all out of 4 games. It's how much we can maximise the 4 games. 2 wins, 2 draws, 8 points. Maybe 3 wins and a draw, 10 gets us over the line. But definitely, I think top 24, Desi, or Hector, sorry, I think that's where we're going to be.
I think we'll get the 9. I think the 3 last night, I think we'll beat Young Boys at home, and I think we'll beat Bruges at home. I think there's 9, and we may sneak a draw somewhere else. So based on that, I think we'll do top 24.
Hector, this is a quick one for you. What do you think the scenario is when we head to Villa in the last game? Is it a dead rubber, or are we fighting for life? Or as Ralph said, they're shite and they're already out.
Well, if my sums are right, we'll have for 10 points before we play Villa because they're the last game.
So
I think we'll be in. But then again, because they're all playing. So just for those who don't know, this week's the first week's of Champions League, Tuesday, Wednesday, and tonight they're playing. See the final 8th game of the entire competition. Every single match starts at 8 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
So there's a danger, Desi, serious danger that you might be going, wait a minute. Oh, a couple of results go against you, and you think you're comfortable. You're fucking out.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one.
Or we get the classic. Remember it was I think it was Celtic night or something, or Rangers flying them, and they went, let's go over to Leverkusen or something, and the 2 teams were just passing the ball between themselves. I'm sure it was Rangers needed another team to win, and they were raging. And you're going, well, they only need a point each. I mean, it was like the old Germany-Austria thing. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens. But very good start for Celtic. Couldn't get any better.
So, you would have maybe 2 teams that have qualified, but one of them is in 12th place and the other one's in 23rd and is trying to get a wee bit higher because there's a possibility they'll play one of the bigger clubs or better clubs. So I think the entire thing's refreshing. It's just one game. That's it. When that one's done, you move on to the next one, and nothing that happens in any of the other games affects you. It's all about what you do now.
But
We're depending on somebody else winning a game to get you through, as we maybe used to do in the smaller groups.
Monty, there was tweets going about, and I don't know if it's true. I just assumed it was exaggeration. But there was tweets going about last night saying a win in the Champions League and 5 goals would generate something like £5 million. Is that just nonsense? That's
nonsense.
Aye.
It's
or maybe it's just a classic. Put it out there just for some Rangers idiots to
That's what they did. They take the bait. That's what it was put out for.
Aye, it's like, it's like every goal gets you a Todd Cantwell and a half.
But even just on that, sorry, just to move on. But even the win, every game is relevant because to win a match you get nearly €2 million. €2
million, €2.1 million.
There you go. So it's about 1.7, 1.6,
1.7. Yeah.
So it's just, every game is worth something.
Or as Monty calls it, another flat in Portugal. Or complex, another
rental estate up near Porto.
Condo complex in Portugal, or a little estate in Donegal.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that was the football. We're now going to move on. With a quick Champions League special quiz. Right. So you don't know anything about this, so I like to spring these on you. It's very easy. This one. We've got a top trumps round, then we've got a few hard questions. So who wants to go first?
Ralph.
Okay. Ralph, you've been volunteered to go first, Ralph, right? Ralph, do you want to go for 1, 2, or 3?
1.
1, okay. Right, top trumps, right? Is this club got a higher or lower market value than Celtic? Higher or lower? Bruges. Have they got a higher market value or a lower value than Celtic? Sorry?
Lower.
Bruges currently market value is 137 million. Celtic's current market value 119 million. So sadly, that is a 0 points for you. Ralph, I can give you a bonus if you can tell me which 2 teams in your group are worth over 500 million. This is squad value.
Oh,
squad value over. Anybody, any guesses? Which 2 squads are worth over?
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, yes. Who else?
Dortmund.
Nope.
What's Atalanta?
Nope.
Atalanta.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Any idea, Monty?
I'm not clue, is he?
Leipzig. Leipzig have a team value of 514 million. Okay,
Wow.
right. Okay, so coming to you next then, Monty. I'll work my way around clockwise. Do you want 2 or 3, Monty?
3.
3, okay. Year formed. Were they formed before or after Celtic? Young boys.
Before.
Okay. Young boys were formed. Celtic were formed in 1888. Young boys were formed in 1898. So sadly, 0 points there. 0 points there. But can you tell me, Monty, the oldest team and the youngest team in your section?
The youngest team is Leipzig.
Correct.
Oldest team out of our is for some reason I think Dortmund's 1873.
Dortmund was
Aston
1909. Aston Villa, well done, Hector. Hector, well done. That's right. Okay, Hector. So Hector, you're left with number 2. Record home attendance. Does this team have a record home attendance higher or lower than Celtic? Dortmund.
No chance.
Okay, Dortmund's record attendance is 83,000. Celtic's record attendance is 147,000.
At Hampden.
Yeah, but that's still recorded as a home attendance. Right, so this is the follow-up question. Which other team, Ralph, you might know this, which other team's record home attendance was not played at home? Same as Celtic's. Was not played at home.
In our group?
Yep, on our group, yep.
Probably Aston Villa.
That's when Atalanta, 44,000 at the San Siro. So there you go, right? So that's right. So that was top trumps. So I don't know. Did anybody score any points there?
I got one.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Back to Ralph. Right. League losers, Ralph. On current standings, this was as of Tuesday. I think I did this. Do you want to go for 3 or 2? The category is league losers. Sorry.
League losers, yeah, number
You're
2.
going for fear 2, right? So who is currently the furthest back in their domestic leagues? Which 2 teams are the current furthest back in their domestic leagues in our groups?
Hold on. Atalanta
Correct. They're 9th. Yep.
and Aston Villa are rubbish, so it must be them.
Well, they're 5th. They're 5th in their league.
Young
Hector,
boys.
they're 12th in their league. Well done, Hector. Well done. How many teams? Can anybody think of who's first in their leagues?
In our
In
Celtic.
our group. In our league.
Celtic.
Celtic, yep.
just
Other.
That team we pumped last night. They're
Bratislava, yep. I think they were unbeaten until we beat them.
They won. They lost one. They
Oh,
got.
had they?
lost.
They
Oh,
got
no,
us.
they lost one after beating Midtjylland, as in we were celebrating too.
We're on the
And
piss.
also, right, so again, it's quite interesting. Celtic are top of the league. Dynamo are third in their league. Bruges are first in their league. Leipzig's third in their league. Dortmund's second in their league. And Bratislava are first in their league. So not why you just assume we've not got any big names. We've got a lot of big performers at the moment in ours.
Yep.
Right, okay, as the crow flies, Monty, you are our resident traveller. Furthest away from Parkers, Bratislava or Dynamo?
Gonna say Dynamo.
Yeah, Zagreb.
Okay, so Bratislava is 1,047 miles away. Zagreb, where Dynamo is, 1,116 miles away. So well done there, Monty's on the board. Okay, Hector, closest to Parkers, Dortmund or Leipzig?
Oh, Dortmund.
Has to be
Dortmund is 565 miles away and Leipzig is 747 miles away. So well done. Hopefully everyone's playing along at home. Right, last few questions. Last few questions on the stadium. Ralph, who used to play, which one of our group members used to play in the old Rats Stadium? That's what it was known as, Rats, R-A-T-S, as in the animal Rat Stadium. Who do you think that was?
Sounds German, so Leipzig.
Any guessing, anybody?
Dortmund.
No.
No.
Zagreb.
Bruges. Bruges used to play in the Rat Stadium. Okay, one for Monty. Which colour famous club used to play at the Red Soil Stadium?
Colour famous club.
Yep. They're famous for their colours. I was trying to give you a clue there, but they used to play at the Red Soil
Star.
Stadium.
It's gonna be Red Star Belgrade.
No, in our group. In our group.
Oh.
They're associated with famous colours, but they used to play at the Red Soil Stadium.
Fucking hell. Oh, okay.
Part
I'm
of
gonna guess.
the current stadium is named after the colour. Very famous.
No, I haven't a clue,
Hector.
so I'm just gonna guess. I'm gonna
Zagreb.
guess.
Zagreb.
What you got to guess, Monty?
Zagreb.
Borussia Dortmund.
Oh, the yellow wall.
The big yellow wall. They've got the big yellow, that's their big standing section. And then final question then, Hector, who once had a crowd of 51,865 to play Celtic?
Dortmund.
No, Ralph?
Who have we played before it? That lot? Have we played Young Boys before?
Moving on, Monty?
It's either Bruges or Dinamo Zagreb, so I'm gonna go with Bruges.
You're correct there, Monty. It was, of course, Slovan Bratislava. So thank you for playing the inaugural Champions League quiz. I hope everyone enjoyed that at home as much as the contestants clearly did not. But again, I thought that was very interesting in regards to the league standings when I was staying up and I was pulling out that information. I mean, they're really, we do seem to have a competitive group, even though when the initial draw was, it didn't look the most glamorous. I know there's a couple of big names, but we didn't have like the glamour ties. But very interesting. So there we go. So it's been a lovely September so far, and a start of the campaign. Lovely start to the Champions League. So next Champions League, we're away to Dortmund. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Or as we will be calling it in the post-match podcast, reality comes and bites you on the arse. But we'll cross that bridge when it comes. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. It's just left for me to say thanks to all the guys tonight. Thank you, Ralph Mal. We went for the sunshine to the pitch darkness now that the police lights have disappeared. Thank you, Ralph.
Cheers, thanks. Enjoyed that.
Thank you to the man across the water, Monty C. I don't know what the C would be for champion in the quiz there. We'd have to tally up the scores. Monty C. Burns. Thank you, Monty.
Thanks, Desi. Thanks, lads. Enjoyed
And
that.
finally, last but not least, thank you to Hector Bandido in the suburbs. Thank you, Hector.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, folks, thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed it. The podcast. Look forward to the next one. My name's Desmond. Good night.